You've thought about potential niches based on the type of work you enjoy and the type of industries that you're interested in and your past freelancing experience. Now it's time to face reality by looking at which jobs are available and in demand and which skills are required to do them. Upwork is an excellent tool to help you discover that, so let's get on the old laptop and have a look to see what we can find. Okay, this is the Upwork job search page with all the bells and whistles in terms of filters. What we're going to do right now is just some cursory research. So we're going to be looking out for job titles and skill categories and frequency of specific jobs posted. To that end, we're going to go to the category drop-down menu on the left-hand side, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to select content writing and professional and business writing and sales and marketing copywriting. Also, to narrow down our search, we can scroll down to the client location on the left-hand side, and then we're going to select United States like that. And then we're going to scroll all the way back up, and we can see we have roughly 3,000 jobs to look at. We're not going to look at all of them because this is just cursory research. What I would recommend for this exercise is to go all the way down to the bottom of the search results and then find this one here, jobs per page. And then instead of 10 results per page, we want to go to 50 because then we can now see a lot more results per page. Now we want to pay attention to three things. The first thing is we want to pay attention to the job title here. So for example, experienced YouTube script writer needed. And then we also want to pay attention to the skill categories at the bottom of the job, which in this case is content writing, writing, creative writing, copywriting, and so on. Third, we want to pay attention to how often is a particular job type listed, because that's going to tell us how in demand that job is. And so we can adjust our niche accordingly. Let's go over these three things in more detail, starting with the job titles. You'll notice that a lot of these jobs will have very generic titles. For example, blog article, I think this is supposed to be, without AI. So that doesn't tell us anything in terms of what kind of business it is, but it could be a good job to apply for if you have a general profile such as blog writer. What we want to look for is some more specific job titles because it's going to help us narrow our focus in terms of our niche and our profile. So here, for example, you can see experienced sales email copywriter needed. So this is not just any copywriter like the creative copywriters we talked about. This is specifically email copywriters, but also email copywriters with a sales focus. Here's another example. We have TikTok script writer, voiceover and editor. So this is a bit of a broad role, but at least we know that TikTok script writer indicates that the person is trying to grow their brand on TikTok. So you might be good at writing scripts for YouTube videos, but in this case, we're probably aiming for something more snappy and punchy and short form. Here's a third example of someone looking for a blog post writer, but with a JavaScript focus. So that would require you to have knowledge of JavaScript or maybe coding in general. And similarly here, we have someone looking for writers with Google Sheets or Excel experience to help them write tutorials. Now again, just to go back to the thing we talked about in the previous video, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the client. So let's imagine that you've posted a job looking for a writer to help you write tutorials about Google Sheets or Excel. You will probably get 50 applicants with creative copywriting experience or blog writing experience or something similar. But then if a candidate shows up that says Google Sheet tutorial expert, you'll be much more inclined to click their proposal and read it and then click on their profile and maybe even hire them for the job. Another reason we want to pay attention to the keywords here is that much like Google, Upwork is a search engine. So when clients, they type in specific keywords, such as in this case, Google Sheets or Excel, then only the freelancers with those keywords in their profiles will pop up in the search results. So if you want to land these kind of jobs or even get invited to them without having to apply to them, then you need to pay attention to these keywords so that you can put it in your profile header or somewhere in your profile description. Now, the second thing we should pay attention to are the skills that are listed in these job posts. So for example, here it's English, which is a bit basic, but then also Microsoft Excel, which we just discussed, Google Sheets, Excel formula, Google Sheet automation, and Excel macros. So in addition to maybe having this stuff in your freelancer profile title, you might also want to select these skills. Now you only get 15 skills to add to your profile, so you have to be very careful with which ones you select. That's why I recommend going to this job search page and then looking at which skills are matching which kinds of jobs. So for example, here we have someone looking looking for a copywriter for a landing page for a logistics software company. Now that job requires a certain set of skills. First, of course, you need copywriting, which they've put here, but you also need to be able to write copy specifically for landing pages, so they've put that as a skill. And then you might also want that landing page to rank in search results on Google, which means the writer will need to know a bit about search engine optimization or SEO. Now, a thing to also look out for is that the clients don't always necessarily know which skills they're supposed to list as required for their job. So some of them won't make sense, and there's no point in you picking those skills for your profile because you're just going to waste your 15 skill slots. So this is an example here. Someone's looking for an experienced blog writer for engaging and informative content with SEO. We're looking for a blog writer, so blog writing and blog content makes sense. Content writing makes sense. Content creation, on the other hand, is a bit too broad. Content creation could also involve videos or graphic design. English is also a bit of a waste because most of the jobs you'll be applying for are in English, so that's why it's a bit of a redundant skill to put in a job post, but also to include in your profile because you already get a section for languages specifically. Then here you can also see that they've put stuff like medical device, which could indicate that this is going to be for a medical company or pharmaceutical company, but then they've also have hat and cap, which I'm not sure what is. So you have to think a bit critically about which skills should go to which jobs and then thus which skills to include in your profile. Another thing you should note is that some of the skills are interchangeable. So for example, blog writing and blog content and content writing are all skills that are typically associated with SEO writing. Unless you want to focus purely on blog content and SEO, you might want to be a bit selective with which one you pick. So for example, if you want to have a general profile, which is copywriter, let's say you want to have copywriting, sales copywriting, email copywriting, but then you might also want to have a specialized profile, which is for blog content or SEO, and then you can allocate maybe blog content, blog writing, and content writing. But as I'll show you later, you can go crazy with these skills. So again, you have to be a bit economical when it comes to selecting the ones. That's why I suggest that you skim through these jobs and see how often does a particular skill category appear on a particular job. So if you see 10 jobs for people looking for blog writers and the most common skill is blog writing, which would make sense, then that's the one you should be putting on your profile because that's the one most clients are looking for. Now, the last thing we want to discuss here is how frequently is a given job posted. And of course, you can use the search bar here at the top, but you can also get an idea for it just by skimming the titles. So if we take it from the top here, we have a YouTube script writer. Then I can scroll down. There's a TikTok script writer. Here's a YouTube channel script writer. Here's a script writer for a faceless YouTube channel. YouTube script writer for artificial and technology niche. So that's roughly 4 to 5 script writing jobs in the first 50 results. So that tells you 10% of the jobs might be related to script writing. So that's a pretty good niche to get into. Of course, like I said, you can also use the search bar here. So you can just go in and write script writer or YouTube script writer and then see how frequently that occurs. So here you can see this one was posted 17 minutes ago, 8 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 11 hours ago. So that's 4 YouTube script writing jobs just in the last 24 hours. So like I said in the previous video, trends come and go. When I started out, there were loads of cryptocurrency SEO writing jobs on Upwork. Every other job was pretty much related to cryptocurrency and SEO. So that's what I specialized in. These days, you'll see much more stuff like YouTube script writer or LinkedIn content creator or whatever. But just pay attention to what you usually see in your job feed because that is an indication of which direction the market is moving in. And if you want to ride that wave, then I suggest that you create a specialized profile targeting those kind of jobs, like for example, YouTube scriptwriter or whatever is hot at the moment. More opportunities equal more jobs, but also more competition. Now, it's over to you. Time for a little practical exercise. I would like for you to skim through some of these search results and see if you can spot some patterns when it comes to job titles and skill categories. So ideally you want to find 3 different job types, 1 general and 2 specialized ones, so you can create your general and 2 specialized profiles targeting those jobs. And at the same time, you also want to find the 15 most relevant skills to those 3 jobs and then save that in a document for when you get around to writing your profile. We'll need this for ammunition later. More is always better, so if you can find 5 job types or 25 skills, then you have more to choose from later. Again, you don't have to click on these jobs to read the job description and all the stuff about the client and all the extra questions they're asking. Don't worry about that yet. We'll get into it later. All you have to do is skim the results here and look for the titles and the skills. The more information you collect, the better, but I would recommend you just go through a few hundred of these. It shouldn't take you more than 5-10 minutes. Just go through the first 4 pages and then you'll have more than enough data. To show what I mean and to help you out a bit, I've actually created an example here. The 3 job titles I would be interested in if I was going to change my niche would be native English expert scriptwriter for YouTube. So again, that's the YouTube scriptwriters we talked about. Looking for a writer to help me boost my LinkedIn profile. A lot of people are looking to build their personal brand on LinkedIn, so that's also a good category. And then the third one would be sales and marketing copywriter or content creator needed, because sales copywriters are always going to be in high demand. People always need to sell stuff. So those would be the 3 categories: YouTube scriptwriter, LinkedIn social media content writer, and sales copywriter that I would focus my 3 profiles on. Then I've also created a list of skills. And as you can see here, I have many more than 15, and I've also categorized them because, for example, if I want to create a sales and marketing copywriter profile, then I want to make sure I include at least 5 of these copywriting skills. Same thing if I want to create something targeting YouTube scriptwriting jobs. I might want to go down here to my YouTube skills section and include some of these as well: YouTube marketing, YouTube thumbnail, and so on and so forth. So the more the better, as I mentioned. If you can create a similar list to this, save it in a Google Doc, and then you'll have more than enough ammo for when you start creating your profile. All right, that's a wrap. Hope that was useful and you now have a clear picture of which jobs are in demand and which skills and keywords to include in your profile, so you have a higher chance of landing them. Now we'll get into much more detail about how to write and structure your profile later on, but if you're itching to get started, feel free to write up a first draft and then we can always refine it later with the data we collect.